All right, today on Monday Mindshare, we're coming to you live from the Endure.IQ SFuels Purpose weekly training session on Zwift. We are, 25 minutes into the ride, getting comfortable. Today, we're going to just kind of discuss and talk about how to utilize the Zwift option into your training plan and the year to find the best way to get additional bike fitness. Hey there, Coach Aaron here, host of SFuels Monday Mindshare, where we bring endurance and nutrition together to help you go longer. Today, again, we got a friendly face, Leighton, back in the mix. How you doing?
Morning. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Not too bad. Having a good time doing this for the first time in the middle of a ride.
Yeah, it's been a while too. It's kind of like coming off some of the A races. You're always a little soft on these, higher intensity sets. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I did pick one this week that had a little bit of teeth for a little bit of time out of it. So
yeah.
Make sure you be honest.
It's a great re-entry. I got to say, these, plus FTP interval sets.
Absolutely. Well, then you fall back into an aerobic pace.
Yeah.
Regulate the heart rate. Get some really good aerobic fitness development.
Well, yeah. I mean,
really
it's
good.
It's an awesome idea you and Dan have put together here. I think, particularly, when, we probably had 200 plus people, I think, in the winter when everyone's indoors, people trying to put some just long miles in, before the season starts. And, it's hard finding friends to go out when it's in the 30s and 40s. So coming together on Zwift is awesome. Having you guys in the chat, it's great.
Well, it's given a great way for us to actually also get some additional contact as well.
Yeah.
It's been fun, especially on some of those easier rides in the winter. We're able to discuss a lot of topics.
Yeah.
And really is a good time. I mean, it's just, people find it to be educational and the time passes really, really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. On those 3-hour plus sessions, you kind of wonder what you did before chat came along.
Right. Well, you can definitely understand how things like Zwift, full gas, some of the other training platforms have blown up because really when it was just you on an old school turbo, time stood still.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love, you're bringing together a group of like-minded individuals that have, got a lot of the same questions on their mind. They're kind of around the world. They're at different points of their season because of the North-Southern Hemisphere thing. And you're just hearing different perspectives. Great sharing. I think it's tremendous. Really great opportunity Saturday mornings. And then you've been a Wednesday session too, right?
Wednesday, it's also kind of a good time for mornings in New Zealand and Australia as well.
Okay, so more Southern Hemisphere, gotcha.
And then there's another that is a little bit later on the Australian, New Zealand Thursday, and fits well with European morning.
Yeah.
Kind of puts the US at a time that's not necessarily realistic, but the other areas get a chance to get in there.
Yeah, this is great, I guess. Central US, East Coast US, Europe, this time right now on US Eastern Standard Saturday morning.
Yeah. Well, we've had pros, we've had Olympians on this. It's been a lot of fun interaction all through the way.
Yeah. No, great. And I think the times where, you've been out racing, I've been out racing, we've been kind of sharing how, real-time updates from off the race course, So you got people training and they're kind of sharing real time what's going on in races around the world, you know, largely thanks to the internet, social networking. So yeah, it's just a great experience, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I find it is typically you get news from all over the country in a little bit of a different format.
Yeah.
It's not all depressing. It's all kind of what's going on with these athletes. It's great to hear about.
Yeah, no politics. No politics are allowed.
It's my kind of area right there. All sports, no politics.
Yeah. So hey, how's I know you've been kind of putting your foot in on a bit of Grand Fondo cycling, and it's a different world to triathlon biking, right? So what's the feeling on it all?
Well, I love the competition. First Fondo race didn't necessarily go as planned. Got taken down, made for a long event because it was first quarter of the entire event. So made for a long day, but at least I was able to get up and finish. As far as some time trialing, I think it's been a learning experience because I think most of the time I'm really used to sitting in that PT position.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily used to liquidating the tanks. And I'm always used to having a run on the back half of it. So typically have a little bit more to give so far in those TT events, just because
right.
need to get it out of my mind that there's a run after.
Yeah.
So it's been a learning lesson, I guess is the best way to put it.
I mean, obviously too, right? I mean, triathlon, you're made to have distance between the riders, and it feels like, you know, the bike racing, it's like anything but distance between the riders.
Yeah. You get more comfortable with being uncomfortable in that case.
Yeah.
People on top of you on top of people, because if you're not on top of people, you're kind of getting dropped. So
yeah, right.
You got to get into that peloton and sit on some wheels to really get the aid of being behind them.
Right. Cool. How do you obviously it comes down to training specific sessions, but as you think about the Zwift rides and the squad, Endure.IQ squad sessions, like, you think you need to tune them to support, you know, road riding, Grand Fondo riding? Any thoughts on that?
Well, the Saturday ride traditionally is an aerobic ride, which is going to come in really any phase of cyclist development.
Yeah.
Tour guys are doing it. Tour gals are doing it. Just kind of sets up really a good foundation of mitochondrial density, capillary response, and utilizing your fuels as they should be.
Yeah.
So these are really good places to spend time. Then, depending on the type of event, you're going to adjust maybe some longer threshold efforts for time trial. I still keep the strength work in there.
Right.
So that heavy gear work on the bike. If you were doing crits, you could of course add a little bit more HIIT or VO2 max work. But
right.
It kind of still, context over content, what are you getting ready for?
Yeah. Yeah, frankly, best bang for your buck, if you're not doing 10 hours a week, you're probably still better to do just raw aerobic base. You know, you just got to put down the base miles, right?
Absolutely. You're always going to get a lot more bang for your buck there.
Yeah.
That aerobic development is so key.
We're about to ramp up another 20 watts here, I see. Well, yours may be different. It's
Yeah, I get 25 on mine.
Yeah. So hey folks, if we go a little quiet here on the Monday Mindshare, you know that the heart rate's starting to move a little.
Just creep a bit.
Yeah.
After picking up now.
So yeah, next week's going to be an interesting race. Well, races, right? Between Collins Cup and WTC Worlds, all in the one location. There's a bunch of SFuels athletes there. A few of the pros from the SFuels stable. Yeah, it's just going to be really interesting. Unfortunately, I think some of them might have got a little gut illness over the last week. Hopefully they bounce back, but the race will tell, you know?
Oh, yeah. It seems like right now, with the travel to these events, a lot of individuals, I guess, immune compromised a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit of, I don't know, it's the way people are preparing their food or whatnot. Seems like people are just at high numbers.
Yeah.
Having gut issues going into events.
Yeah.
It's really quite interesting to see and to see if there's answers that might be able to be developed over time.
Great. Yeah, hey, we put out some interesting kind of small study, just trying to look at different breakfasts and the fasting blood glucose and insulin response. We tested for 4 different breakfasts over 4 days, standard protocol, first thing in the morning, and then a 30, 60, 90 test. Really fascinating, just, somewhat benign breakfast in like a rolled oats, where, there's a lot of suggestion that it's fairly blood glucose friendly. And, everyone's different, obviously, in how they respond, but we did a comparison with, 3 different types of the keto-free breakfast cereal. You had like on rolled oats, like a 56-point rise on blood glucose. What was fascinating that, that was at 30 minutes. By 60 minutes, it had, rocketed back down 36 points. It's a classic insulin response right there.
Yeah.
And, when we're thinking about going into races and you're thinking about the morning breakfast, if you're starting to hit that insulin trigger so hard, you basically start the race with a big chunk of your energy systems blunted down, meaning your fat oxidation capability when you're swimming around in all this insulin. So I think it just, highlights the point we've been saying for some time on really being careful race morning, making sure that you're, being able to support really low blood glucose response or reactive foods. So we did the test with the Keto 3. It's like a 10-point rise, that's all. And it wasn't a up in 30 minutes, down in the next 30. It went up 10, basically smooth reduction over the next, up to 90 minutes, and then back down to your, pre-food intake levels. So yeah, it just proves the point we've been talking about.
Oh yeah, well, and that right there is going to prime your system, especially if you're a metabolically flexible athlete. It's going to set you up for a really good day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely, when you're in training, you work your tail off for this great training plan. Nutrition can totally get in the way.
Right.
And that right there is something that can totally dive bomb your day. So it's great research to get some information on.
You and I had that interview recently with one of the other athletes, and it's exactly what was going on. Like, their training is really solid, but find out that they're, high glucose, high dairy whey, which by the way can also stimulate insulin, on race morning. And then there was, probably 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine before the race.
Right.
Caffeine, you want to take some. You don't want to be too heavy. There's, high adrenergic or adrenaline output can also trigger that insulin response. I mean, the body's thinking that it's a fight and flight situation. So, everything, adrenaline comes up, blood sugars come up. That's how the body's meant to respond. So, a little bit of caffeine before you start is great. Get cognitive focus, get your mindset ready. When you get into the first, 30, 60 minutes of the race, it's not a problem. The blood glucose channels have opened right up so you can process it. But anyway, it's just really interesting.
Well, and a key piece for everybody to take a look at when that's published or put out. Hopefully we'll be able to share a screenshot of it on this episode too.
Yeah, we'll put some of that data up here, and you'll be able to see the rolled oats reaction, the keto-free reaction, or lack of. But even in the 3 forms of keto-free, one was like a muesli straight out of the packet. And then there was, one which was like heated up with cream on the stove. So it turned into like a, hot oats kind of texture. And then the other is a granola where you put it in the oven with some more coconut oil. And there was a notable difference between having it straight out of the packet versus any form of cooking, which that was on the stove or in the oven. The reason for that is as soon as you heat fibers, they begin to break apart.
Right.
And that effect of slowing, and in some cases actually reducing the absorption of glucose into the blood, takes effect. So if you heat up that cereal, you're effectively not destroying, but you're breaking down that fiber, so it's less effective when it gets into your gut. So again, I think if it's purely race day kind of thing, I'd be inclined to keep your cereals unheated. Don't take anything that's already been baked or flaked or puffed. You want to take something that frankly has been mixed together, and that's it.
Right. Get that magic recipe.
Yeah.
Set yourself up for success. Well, we get into a recovery set here in about 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, we
20 minutes right there.
should have timed our chats a little bit better here.
Yeah. Conversation will probably come out better in the next minute. A little bit of strength work right here to lower cadence. Medium watt. Top into zone 2. Good work being done.
I got my Oura ring. Been doing comparisons with that on the Garmin platform. I've had, Zwift for 2-3 years. It's really interesting to see the differences, right, between these different platforms and where they're worn on the body and accuracy and things like that.
What are you finding out?
I think it feels like, you know, on the watch, doesn't matter if it's Garmin or anything else. I mean, obviously, you know, you can wear them tight on your arm, but I don't know, I find that a little distracting sleeping. And then if you don't do that, sometimes the LEDs under the light are kind of flickering, you know, through the night. It's not that conducive to sleep, right?
No.
I just found the Oura ring was, you don't know it's on. There's no LEDs flickering. So I don't know if, you know, the fact that it sometimes it's flickering on your wrist as a watch probably suggests that there's space between your watch and your wrist, so your accuracy, you know, gets effective. But I feel like the Oura ring sits really nice and tight there. No flickering. So anyway, all in all, I feel like the sleep data seems to be more in keeping to how I feel the night before. That was interesting.
See any significant difference to later meals or?
You know, on the Garmin platform, they have a thing called body battery, which is an algorithm of a number of inputs, including HRV. And then Oura ring call it a readiness index. What's kind of interesting, both of those numbers are almost exact every day between the two platforms. So I don't know if maybe they did a IP sharing deal on the algorithm or something that feels very similar. Like,
pretty interesting.
Like unnaturally identical.
Yeah. I'd like to see those numbers compared to HRV for training too, just to see kind of that one-time reading through the course of the day, see what kind of you get.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, like on the Garmin platform, like Whoop at least, they actually show you the HRV number. Garmin on your watch, it doesn't automatically pop up. They got all these kind of formulated numbers. On Oura ring, they give you the actual HRV number. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen a RMSSD number on the Garmin platform. So I don't know, like, I think that would be probably a good number to add because that's really what it's reading.
Yeah. But, you know, like, I think you know, right? And I can tell everyone that doesn't matter. But, like, I was back home in Australia at the start of, like, mid-June. And I spent the next 2 weeks there. And at the end of it, I came down with COVID. And just really fascinating to see how the, you know, sympathetic and parasympathetic systems really pick up on the fact that your body is clearly under attack from something. HRV numbers are way down. Your resting heart rate is like, you know, for me, it was 20 beats up for the best part of a week. And just such a great tool to get a sense for, like, I probably started back into some light, but still training too early. And again, the HRV data showed that. So just a great tool in this kind of day and age where, you know, immunity and infections are, you know, we're such a traveling society now, community, this planet, things spread quick. So just having a tool that every morning, you know, whether you're, you know, tracking well or you're maybe for whatever reason just not on top of your game, you know when to back off and, you know, what you should do. So you know, I've published a few, you know, blogs and articles on the effect of alcohol, and it's clearly different with everyone. But, you know, the worst mix is you're on holidays, you get an infection, and typically on holidays, you have a drink or two. Not a great mix. So, again, HRV data just shows you that through and through, that mixing those things together is not rocket science. So.
Get ready, because we're going into a set here. But
all right,
I agree with it, and a lot of times I have to get on my athletes, because when they go on vacation or holiday, they don't take their numbers. Like, this is a very, one, if you get actual good rest, we're gonna see what your real baseline might be over that time. But two, we're gonna notice the stress that is on your body through that travel, through what you're doing. And we're gonna know, okay, coming back, we need to probably back down the intensity a bit to let your parasympathetic nervous system recover.
Yeah, just so sensitive. Well, hey, bud, good to talk to you.
Absolutely.
And, great interview last week with Debbie. I know you got some more fascinating athletes coming up. Thanks for leading it for us.
Absolutely, loving it. Enjoying bringing quality content to the masses. And again, to the group, we appreciate you tuning in to this episode of Monday Mindshare. If you're on Zwift, find these Endure.IQ rides.
Yeah, let's get the whole crew on here. Let's get more of the crew on here. It's just an awesome experience.
Good times, and